Before we get into the video, do not forget to like, comment and subscribe. So, in another day of senseless violence, a young man was stabbed to death in Brixton after performing in a rap video on the London streets. Now, during the filming, quad bikes and exotic cars were brought out and a lot of curious people were loitered around the Brixton market area to witness what could have been potentially a good rap video being filmed. Now that video is going to be forever associated with the death of a young man who was just doing what he loved, and that was performing stunts on quad bikes. The victim has been named locally as Shane Jerome, and again, this was a stuntman who was knifed to death opposite Brixton Tube at roughly 8:20 PM yesterday, which is Wednesday, July 21st, in what police are labelling as an act of jealousy or hatred. Now imagine, this murder was not marked because of so-called beef or rivalry, but the simple fact that 20-year-old Shane Jerome had been driving a quad bike, riding it up and down Brixton Market for the video shoot, and he had garnered attention, and some adults who should have concentrated on their own life did not like the attention the victim was getting, and for such a rudimentary reason they ended his life in a vicious and violent way. Now it seems that the video was directed for a well-known artist who was performing with balaclavas. Again, as well as quad bikes on the strip, there were Lamborghinis and Ferraris and Range Rovers. A witness told the BBC that everything was going well, but after a while all hell broke loose. It seems like a convoy of cars pulled up and fists began flying, and before anyone was able to grasp what the hell was going on, there was a person lying on the ground bleeding to death. Now reports say that the ambulance team were on the scene almost immediately, and they immediately performed CPR, but the victim, Shane Jerome, looked lifeless right away. Again, he was only 20 years old. A man in goggles and a woman were heard screaming and running over to the victim, obviously distraught. So far, one man has been arrested on suspicion of causing grievous bodily harm after he was apprehended nearby. Now this is a tragic loss, not for just Shane Jerome's family, but the local community too. I mean, this could have been me, it could have been you, it could have been your cousin, or it could have been your mate. If people are getting murdered for essentially doing a job, then what hope is there for everyone else? Shane Jerome worked part-time as a stuntman driving quads, and he also worked as a scaffolder. He was also brought up in Croydon. Now it took only 45 minutes for Mr. Jerome being stabbed to the point that he lost his life. Again, paramedics with the assistance of the air ambulance team tried their best to preserve his life, but the trauma he sustained was too grave, and this is all because people could not mind their own business and were jealous that a music video was being filmed in Croydon and they wanted to act up and cause a ruckus. All I've got to say is everyone needs to be careful, because as the weather heats up, the crime rate will also increase. Stay safe, safe.